Hi, I'm Andrew, and welcome to the Neon Knitter. So, this video is my Everything I Knit in 2023 video. So, before we get started, I just want to talk about what I'm wearing, and then we'll move on to the things I made in 2023. So, I am wearing a store-bought sweater today. I know this is a knitting channel, and I'm wearing something store-bought. I didn't want to wear any of the things I made in 2023 because I felt like I should just hold them up and show you. And this is the sweater I chose to wear today, and I didn't feel like changing my outfit to something I made for this video. So, yeah, and I actually wear this sweater all the time. I love it. Like, I have several store-bought sweaters that I really love. I just, um, I have a higher quantity of hand knit sweaters than I do store-bought ones. But I love this sweater. It's got flowers. It's got pink ones, orange ones, and blue ones. I love that. I got it at Dry Goods. So, yeah, I got it back in, I forget what month, but it was over the summer that I got it. July or August, maybe? I don't know. I just tend not to wear my store-bought sweaters on the channel here because it's not something I made, but well, I'm wearing it today. So, the other thing I'm going to say is if you see a green dot on my neck or on my sweater at any time, that is the light indicating my microphone is on. Apologies for that in advance. Yeah. So, all right. So let's get into what I made in 2023. This is my year-end wrap-up video. Sorry this video is a good chunk of the month late. There were a few things I still hadn't gotten around to modeling yet that I finally did. There is one thing I'm going to show you guys that I haven't modeled yet, but I haven't figured out a location and I decided to just screw it. I need to get this video done. So, yeah. So, I have 9 finished objects I'm going to show you guys today, and 8 of which I have here, and 1 of which I will be putting a photo on the screen of because it was a gift knit. So, all right. So let's get into this. So my first finished object for 2023, and I'm going in chronological order of when I finished them, and these are all things that I have completed in 2023. It doesn't necessarily mean I had to have started it in 2023, I just had to have completed it in 2023. And if I started something in 2023 but did not complete it in 2023, that does not count on this list either. It's only things I have finished in 2023. So let's start with the first item. I finished this on January 28th, 2023. And this was the gift knit I was talking about. This was my first finished object. I don't have it to show you. I made my grandfather a hat, a beanie. The pattern was Turn a Square by Jared Flood. And I made it using the Crafter's Square acrylic yarn from Dollar Tree in the white and the gray. So the white and the gray are what I used. And trying to figure out if there's a way to not have that green dot on my neck. We'll try this, see what happens. I'm still learning, guys. This is only my second video with this microphone. Anyways, so yeah, I don't have that hat to show you guys because obviously I gave it to my grandfather. So yeah, it was kind of a belated Christmas present for him. So yeah, so that is that. There will be photos on the screen. I'm going to put photos on the screen for everything because I'm going to show you how I modeled it or whatever, but I don't have a photo of anybody wearing that hat, just a photo of the hat. So moving on to my second finished object, I didn't have another finished object until March 28th. And if you guys are wondering, I literally screenshotted the challenge tab on my Ravelry projects page and then printed out the screenshot and then wrote a few notes down, and yeah, so that's how I have all the dates. And the notes I wrote down was mostly just yarns that had color numbers instead of names because I couldn't remember the numbers. But anyways, so my second finished object was March 28th, and it is my painting honeycomb sweater. So here's my painting honeycomb sweater. I absolutely love this sweater. I think it turned out so good. And then you can see the back has short row shaping. So this is the painting honeycomb sweater by Stephen West. Now let's talk yarns real quick. So I made the large size, the fourth size in the pattern, whatever that size was, the fourth size. That's usually the size I am in Stephen West patterns. So I've got pink, orange, yellow, green, blue on the yoke, and then on the sleeve cuffs I did green and orange. So yeah. Excuse me. So I'm going to talk about the contrast colors first, and then I'll go over the main color. So the first contrast color is the pink, and that is Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Floro Rose. Then we have the orange. That is Madeline Tosh DK in the color Push Pop. Then we have the yellow. That is Nana Cindy New Zealand Sumptuous in the colorway Mish Yellow Bama. And if you want to see all the names of these colors, link to my Ravelry account will be in the description down below. You can go view my project pages if you want to actually see the names written out. The green is from Clarindrad. It is the Merino DK in the colorway ELO. I believe it's named after the Electronic Light Orchestra, which is a band from the 1980s. And the blue, this is Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Jet Pilot. Now, Jet Pilot was a Stephen B custom color, so exclusive to them. So, yeah, so those are all my contrast colors. Then my main color is discontinued. Also, the yellow's discontinued. Nana Cindy is currently not dying, I don't think, and Clarindrad is no longer dying either. So, yeah. And I'm not sure, but Madeline Tosh might have retired the Push Pop colorway. I don't know. That might be a discontinued color. But anyways, so a piece of hair on my sweater. Let me pick that off. There we go. I got it. So the main color is from Skeins, which is a company based out of New Zealand, and it is their Black Pearl, and the color is called Pirate's Cove. Now, Black Pearl is a discontinued yarn. Skeins no longer makes it, but I got that at Stephen B. I went through about 13 skeins of it because they're little tiny 100-yard skeins. So yeah, I went through about 13 skeins of it, and I love how it turned out. It's a little wrinkled from being in a bin, but I have a bin where I keep my sweaters. But anyways, so yeah, so that is my painting honeycomb sweater. And the coordinating podcast episodes that go with each of these has as the thumbnail a photo of me modeling the item. So, and then of course if I haven't modeled the item yet, then there's just a photo of the item for whatever finished object is from that episode. And then if a particular episode has like a creative like zoom in of my or creative like shot showing all my whips for that episode, it's probably because I didn't have a finished object. Um, but anyways, so my next finished object was April 13th, and this is the Diane Wrap by Jeannie Beard, J Beard. Her name is Jeannie Beard, but her design page on Ravelry is J Beard. So if you're looking it up, it's called the Diane Wrap by J Beard. Because I didn't even know her name was Jeannie till I downloaded the PDF and it's at it. But here's the shawl, the Diane Wrap by J Beard. Um, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really wear it that often. This is the one item I'm showing you guys that I have not modeled yet. Um, but I mean, I really love the yarn I used and I like wearing it. I just don't wear it that often, and so I'm still trying to figure out how to style it, and I don't even have a place picked out to where I'm going to model it yet. So I will figure that out because I really want to wear this again. But anyways, so the yarn I used is discontinued, but I used Skicel Summerwind, and the blue is color number 3755, and the pink is color number 3754. So, yeah, Skicel Summerwind, really nice yarn to work with. I really am sad that they discontinued it. This yarn was already discontinued when I discovered it, so yeah. Um, but anyways, that is the Diane Wrap. There's not a lot to say about it. It's a garter stitch triangular shawl worked sideways, and then you've got an applied I-cord border. That's really all there is to it. Yeah, so I went through 4 skeins of the blue and one, or about half a skein of the pink, because these skeins are 99 yards. It's a bulky number 5 weight, but they're 99 yard skeins, so yeah. Um, but I really love that, so I should definitely find a way to wear that a little more often. Alright, now my fourth finished object was April 21st. I finished my bubble sweater. And this is the bubble sweater by Stephen West. And this was a project I started in 2021. And then I got partway through the yoke, and then I just set it down and did not finish it. For whatever reason, another project caught my attention, and then I never finished it. I don't remember what caught my attention, but something obviously did. Um, but then I decided, you know what? I think it's about time that I actually pick this up and finish it. So then, of course, I did. So I made this using Madeline Tosh Farm Twist. The orange is called Citrus, and the blue is called Ex-Boyfriend. And Ex-Boyfriend's a discontinued color that Madeline Tosh doesn't do anymore, but their Arctic colorway is very similar, so if you would like to use the same colors I did, Arctic is a very similar one, and then Citrus is the other one. And they still make Citrus, so yeah. Again, this Madeline Tosh Farm Twist, excuse me. This was yarn I bought at Flax and Fleece in Sauk City, Wisconsin. And Madeline Tosh Farm Twist is basically 2 strands of Tosh Merino Light plied together. So 2 single ply fingerings plied together is what it is. And I really love how this turned out. The one thing I will say is that the sleeves feel kind of sort of like 3/4 length. That wasn't my goal. I was trying to make them full length. But this was back when I thought, oh, I could just stick my arm through the sleeve and see where it hits me. No, that's not a great idea. the best idea is to literally try the whole entire sweater on and not just stick your arm through the sleeve, because being lazy means you could make the sleeves the wrong length. I've debated extending the sleeves, but I've decided to leave it, and I don't need to. So yeah. And then the other thing, which you don't really notice unless you know it's there, is I did make a mistake on the yoke that I did not bother going back to to go back and fix. You might notice there's little bubbles and then it switches to big bubbles. My first row of big bubbles, I accidentally did an extra round without noticing. So it looks a little funny there, but it kind of bothers me because I know it's there, but I didn't notice it till I was like far away from it. Otherwise, I'd have gone back to fix it, but I'm not going to bother fixing it because it doesn't make sense to. Because then I'd basically have to reknit the whole sweater, and I don't want to do that. But yeah. So, anyways, now my next finished object, which should have been a 2022 finished object, but ended up not because I set it down and got distracted for about 6 months. You guys might remember that I got really distracted on my twists and turns. I did not finish it. I set it down for 6 months. Yeah. So I'll talk about what happened and then I will show or talk about the yarns. So here's what happened. What happened was I did clues 1 and 2. And then clue 3 is this really long, skinny strip with these wavy cable bits. And it's on both sides. And what had happened was I found that it wasn't as enjoyable for me to knit that section because there were so few stitches that I couldn't sit and watch a knitting podcast. I couldn't sit and watch a TV show. I had to constantly be looking at what I was doing. I had to have my knit companion pulled up constantly, and I couldn't be switching back and forth because there's so few stitches. And I mean, if this was, excuse me, if this was a repeat of the same thing multiple times, I'd be able to watch a knitting podcast while doing it because I'd be able to have the repeat ingrained in my head for that particular row. And then when the row's done, I'd pause my video and go read my pattern for the next row. But since there's so few stitches, I get like 30 seconds of the video watched and then I gotta go change my row counter again. So I found it not as enjoyable to work on that part. I then did find a audio podcast, like in the Apple Podcast app, to listen to. I found it's the Very Pink Questions and Answers podcast. It's basically there's some things that she can describe without having to make a video on, and so people submit questions and then she answers them on that. So I was listening to that the whole time because I didn't need to switch out a Knit Companion to keep listening to that. So because it's just audio. And so I found that to be a good thing to to listen to. I'm so used to podcasts being a thing you watch that I'm forgetting they were originally a thing you listened to. Um, yeah, so, but that is that. So the reason I decided to pick this up and finish it when I did was because my plan was to wear it to Shepherd's Harvest for 2023 because my yarn is from Pearl Talk and she has a booth there every year, or the last couple of years she has at least. And I wanted to wear it to show her, and so I'm like, oh crap, Shepherd's Harvest is coming up, I better get it done. And so then I got it done. That motivated me. So, yeah. Um, so So let's talk yarns. So my main color is the dark sort of burgundy maroon color, and that is Pearl Talk Usoxy Thing in the colorway Passionate Red. I believe she no longer makes that color. She has another one that's very similar that I think is new since this one got discontinued. Um, but yeah, it's Pearl Talk Usoxy Thing in Passionate Red. And I don't know if she just renamed the color or what she did, but yeah. Because also I thought Passionate Red didn't really make sense for naming the color, but oh well, it's the color I liked. So, and then the pink. So the pink is also Pearl Talk Usoxy Thing. The color is called Damask Rose. And each of these yarns I went through 2 skeins each. And then the blue, or the turquoise, or whatever, is from Zitron. It is their trekking sock yarn in the colorway Suzanne. I don't know why it's called Suzanne. That's just the name of the color. Um, but yeah, when I was picking my colors for this, I got all the yarns at Stephen B. I was walking around with that blue skein trying to figure out what I liked with it because I just really liked that blue. But they only had 1 skein left of it, so it had to be my accent color. So that's my accent color, the Suzanne colorway from Zitron, their trekking yarn, their trekking sock yarn. Yeah, so I'm very happy with how this turned out. And yeah, if you want to know more about it, I have a whole video series on me knitting this because it was the 2022 Mystery Knit Along. So yeah. Okay. Then my next finished object is from May 24th. And it is my exploration station. This is a past MCAL that I did not do as a mystery, but this was the 2014 Mystery Knit Along. And this is, I think, currently to date the most knit Stephen West pattern. Yeah. So this is knit using Opal sock yarn. Yeah, Opal sock yarn. They make 4 different neons, and so that's what I used. I ordered this yarn from the Wool Warehouse. So color A is the pink, and that is color number 2010. Color B is the orange, which is color number 2013. Then color C is the green, which is color 2011. And then D is the yellow, which is 2012. And so I've got all the colors on the section 1 short rows. I've got all 4 colors. And I chose pink as my framing color, or color A, because I thought it was the most different from the rest. And then the brioche, which is section 2, I picked the green and the orange. Then section 3, the slip stitch pattern, I picked green and yellow. And then section 4, I picked yellow and orange. And then section 5 is the border in pink. And I was very strategic about how I picked my colors because I wanted to show the green and the yellow together nicely. Mostly because I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. I know I live in Minnesota, but I'm a Packers fan. Family's from Wisconsin. I mean, I'm born and raised in Minnesota, but I have a good chunk of my family from Wisconsin. So, um, yeah. So Packers are a thing in our lives that we like. So, um, so I wanted to show off the green and yellow together in a very specific way, so that because of my love of the Green Bay Packers. So, yeah. I even have yarn to knit a Green Bay Packer sweater. Haven't started that yet, but hopefully I'll do it soon. Might be a couple years before I get to it, who knows. But yeah, so that's my exploration station. I really love it. And then my next finished object wasn't until November 17th. Um, yeah, so I think what had happened is I cast on my Bright Access tee, and then I got distracted by my next finished object, and then I continued with my Bright Access because I realized the event I wanted to wear to was coming up and I had to get it done. So I think that's what happened. So my next finished object is my painting triangle sweater. Again, finished this on November 17th. Oh, right. My next finished object was my Bright Access initially, and then I extended the body, and so then I had to change the finished date for it. Okay, right. Sorry, I had to do some thinking in my head here because it didn't make sense that there was that much of a gap between finished objects. May 24th, and then we jump all the way to November 17th. That just seems like a long time without having another finished object. But anyways, so yeah, I finished this on November 17th. This is the Painting Triangle sweater by Stephen West. So it's got the motif from the Painting Triangle shawl on the yoke, and then the body is done in broken rib, and so are the sleeves. And then there's garter stitch short rows on the neckline. Excuse me. So the yarns I used are, I'm going to go over the yoke yarns first, and then I'll go over the main color. This orange here is from Nurturing Fibers. It is their Super Twist DK in the colorway Maple. Then we have the burgundy, or the maroon, whatever you want to call it. This is Madeline Tosh DK in the colorway Coquette Dew. Then we've got this purple, and this is a Madeline Tosh DK one-of-a-kind skein that I got when Madeline Tosh Mobile was at Stephen B. Yeah. Actually, I got that Coquette Dew skein the same day, but it was the skein Stephen B already had in their inventory, so. But this one was a skein from the Madeline Tosh Mobile Trunk Show that was at Stephen B a couple years ago. I think 2021 they were there. And then my main color, this is from Clurindrad. It is her Merino DK in the colorway Lemonade. And I think I went through 7 skeins of it. 6 skeins? No, 6 skeins. I only had 6 skeins, right. Yeah, I went through 6 skeins of it. Stephen B had it on clearance. They only had 6 skeins. I bought all 6. Because, again, as I mentioned earlier, Clurindrad is no longer dyeing yarn. So, yeah. So, that is very special because I've got some yarn that will never exist again. So, that's fun. And also the fact that the purple was a one-of-a-kind skein, that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's my painting triangle sweater. I love that one. Okay, I'm down to the last 2 finished objects. So my next finished object, which I initially finished in September, excuse me, I initially finished this in September in time for Yarn Over. I wore it twice, realized that the body was too short, so I put it back on the needles and extended the body. So the official date that I finished it was December 15th. This is Bright Access by Stephanie Lotvin of Tellybean Knits. It is from her book, Knit Happy with Self-Striping Yarn. The idea behind that book is basically if you have a self-striping skein of sock yarn, actually she has some patterns in there that call for self-striping DK weight, but Basically, if you have a self-striping skein of sock yarn and you don't want to make socks, here's some patterns that you can do that aren't socks. And so the Bright Axe is to use self-striping yarn on the yoke and then a solid for the body. So my yarn for the body, sorry, got my hair on it. My yarn for the body is from Mode Knit Yarn. This is Mode Knit Yarn Mode Work Fingering in the colorway Coal, C-O-A-L, Coal. So it's a very dark gray, I think. I think it might have a hint of another color in it. I just am not sure what. But it mostly reads gray in my opinion. But yeah. And you can clearly see it almost looks like I obviously changed skeins here. But no, that's just where I started to extend the body because I had already blocked it before. I blocked it again, um, but yeah, you can kind of see where I started to extend the body, but I don't mind. It kind of adds character to the garment. So, anyways, so then my self-striping yarn is from Earth Yarns. It is their unique sock in the 2021 Pantone colorway. 2021's Pantone colors of the year were gray and yellow. So that is a very pretty combo that I really enjoy. And so when I saw that yarn, I had to have it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but I had to have it. And so that's what I used. It was two 50-gram cakes, and it comes in a box, and you're supposed to be able to make matching socks. And so I used one of the 50-gram cakes on the front and one on the back. I will admit that when I sewed the shoulder, wow, let me try again. When I sewed the shoulder seams, tongue twister apparently. When I sewed the shoulder seams, I did not quite get the stripes lined up like I attempted to. But when I did it on the other side, I did a better job of it. So, I don't know. But that was my first time doing mattress stitch. I really enjoy the outcome. Looks really good on the outside. You can't really see a seam. But on the inside, you can. So, yeah, I like how that looks. And not having the stripes lined up kind of gives more character to the garment, so that's fine. Just means that it has all those handmade qualities that a handmade item should have. So, yeah. So I love this one. I will definitely wear it this summer. I haven't really worn it too much. Again, I wore it twice before it was too cold to wear it, but then I realized the body was too short and I stopped wearing it. So I extended the body and I'm much happier with it now. But yeah, so that is that. So that is technically my last finished object for 2023. Yeah, that's technically my last finished object for 2023. But I have one more finished object I'm going to share with you guys. And that's because I finished this on January 1st. And so it's like, okay, I can basically count it as a 2023 finished object. Because I was binding off all day. Because it was a I-cord bind off. And I started the I-cord bind off before midnight on New Year's Eve. So, but this is my Geo Gradient shawl. So, yeah, this is the last finished object I'll be sharing. But this is my Geo Gradient shawl. And I am very happy with this. This is the 2023 Mystery Knit-Along. And I really appreciate all of you who stuck with Steven and with all the controversies with Clue 1. I really appreciate those who stuck with him and pivoted and changed and did everything he asked. And it was really great to see all your guys' variations of it. Yeah, it was just a really great thing. And yeah. So if you want to know more about my thoughts on Clue 1, go watch my Clue 1 video. I'm not going to go as in-depth about it, because that controversy is kind of sort of in the past now, but yeah, props to Stephen West for pretty much saving his own butt. I mean, he did what he had to do, and too bad it even happened, but I think Stephen did the right thing. So, anyways, so yeah, that is my GeoGradient shawl. Now, I'm going to talk about the yarns just because I've been talking about the rest of my yarns. And if you want to see the yarns in their skeins, go watch my MCal intro video. But anyways, so I'm going to go light to dark. Color A is the tan. That is Zen Yarn Garden Serenity Silk Plus in the color Yellow Opal. Then we've got my color B. This is a vintage yarn from the 1960s. It was pretty cool. I had 5 skeins of it. I only went through 4 of them. They're little 100-yard skeins, so I needed more than one. But this is from Patons. It is called Purple Heather. That's the name of the yarn, not the color. The name of the yarn. So Purple Heather comes in lots of different colors, or did. It was made in the 1960s through the early 70s. So it could be yarn from the early 70s, but most likely from the 60s. But it's Patons Purple Heather in color number 2245. Sorry, I have it written down here because I couldn't remember. But that's color number 2245. Then color C is, and the yellow is the only yarn older than me. The rest are newer. The the orange is Osterman Step Classic in color number 1015. Yeah, Osterman Step Classic, color number 1015. Then we've got the red, and that is Haiku Madrona in the colorway Firethorn Berry. So, yeah, that is my GeoGradient shawl, 2023 Mystery Knit Along. And if it was literally anything else that I finished on January 1st, maybe I would have still waited till my 2024 wrap-up video, but since it was 2023's MCal and I only finished it on the first day of 2024, I figured I should just show it for 2023. Just especially because it was the MCal, so yeah. But if you look on Ravelry, it will say January 1st, and on my Ravelry project page challenge tab, it will say 2024 for that one, because I finished it on January 1st, but, you know. So anyways, that is everything I knit in 2023. So, yeah, I plan to make one of these videos again for 2024, hopefully right away in January of 2025. But I got to make sure I get everything modeled so I can put photos on the screen, so it could be later in the month, who knows. But yeah, that is everything I knit in 2023. So I'm Andrew. Thank you for checking in here at the Neon Knitter, and I will see you in my next video.